I'm Ted Berg, and this is the Baseball Show presented by Caesars Atlantic City. Today we continue our mid-season look at the Mets farm system as we focus on AAA Buffalo and AA Binghamton. Joining us is Toby Hyde of MetsMinorLeagueBlog.com. Toby, how's it going?
Just another day in paradise, Ted.
Toby, who would you say has been the biggest surprise in the upper levels of the Mets farm system this year?
This, for me, Ted, is really easy. Chris Schwinden.
Tell me more.
You talked to Chris.
I know, but that was a few days ago. Tell me, you're on the show today.
Bottom line is, this guy wasn't in the plans, and he was slated for the AA bullpen, which is more or less a dumping ground. See if you can pitch your way out of it. He did. He was called up to Buffalo to make a spot start, and he stayed. And then he was great, and he's the guy. He's been the Buffalo Bison's best starter. Going to the All-Star game, you know this. That's a surprise. He throws strikes. He throws strikes with 4 pitches. That's great. He was even in, being mentioned for a big league call-up.
Do you see him impacting the big league team this year? Maybe if not in the starting rotation, then in a bullpen role down the stretch.
Depends what else happens with the big league team. You might see him as a long reliever.
How about in terms of
Mets people have told me that they point to Schwinden as an example to other pitchers of what you can do with superior command. So the Mets are teaching off of Chris Schwinden now.
So is it sort of like a Dylan G type guy? Is that a fair comp? Just because we see a guy, and G had the great strikeout numbers, but a guy who maybe doesn't have overpowering stuff, but can pitch to all sides of the strike zone.
Absolutely.
How about on the other side of the coin, Toby? Some guys who maybe have disappointed this year in the higher levels.
Well, it's the 2008 first round, and those picked in that round not named Ike Davis, Rhys Havens and Brad Holt. And I don't want to pick on these guys, but Rhys Havens has been pretty good over his career when he's been healthy, and he's never been healthy. And he had off-season surgery to shave down his rib, and he's missed a lot of time. And then, recently he came down. He's on the DL again. This time a lower back issue, supposedly unrelated to the rib. The bottom line is, if you don't play, you don't progress. And that's where Rhys Havens is right now. And he's also been hurt so much that the Mets now have other second basemen in front of him and other options there. Holt, starter, wasn't very good. They moved him to the bullpen. Simply wasn't very good. The fastball has lost velocity since I saw him in Brooklyn. That he's 92-ish. When I got excited about him in Brooklyn, he's 94, 95. I bring this up again. And Wally Backman is on record in multiple places as saying there's stuff going on mentally, and other scouts have given me similar reports. So, and he's in the bullpen and not doing real well either. So, both of those guys as first rounders, it's a good lesson. The Mets had 3 first-round picks in 2008. They got a starting first baseman out of it, and hopefully Ike Davis comes back healthy and returns to his previous levels. And then they've got 2 guys who have not had very much success in AA.
So who would you say has been the best player in the upper levels so far?
Well, Kirk Neuenhuis, when he was healthy, was off to a really nice start. And that's sort of an issue for Neuenhuis. He's on the shelf with a shoulder problem. He was hitting and showing patience, doing everything you would want out of an outfield prospect. But he's hurt, so let's leave him be. One of the other stories that I've been tracking has been the development of Jordany Valdespin, an athletic infielder. He had been playing second base last few years. The Mets moved him to shortstop this year, and he got off to a slow start, but he has really shown a lot of progress over the course of the year. Went bonkers in June, hit 6 home runs in the month of June. That's usually what he does in a season. So he's really the best guy on the field on a daily basis right now between AA and AAA.
And Toby, you have to credit, too, some of the guys maybe ticketed for AAA that are performing at the big league level.
Absolutely. You can't tell the story of a AAA team in any season, and this applies to the 2011 Buffalo Bisons very well, without telling it through the lens of the big league team. And in the Bisons case specifically, what you're looking at is a team that was short on pitching on opening day. But that description could also have been applied to the Mets, and these things are related, of course. The Bisons are short on pitching because the Mets are short on pitching. Just as an organizational depth issue, the Mets didn't have a lot of high-level arms. Partly that also produced the opportunity for Schwinden to exceed expectations. But But also, I thought the Mets did a really good job with the Buffalo Bison's lineup. I thought they collected a really good Bison's lineup. In the outfield, you're talking about Nieuwenhuis in center, flanked by Fernando Martinez and Lucas Duda. On the infield, guys like Zach Lutz, who's hit when he's healthy but has dealt with injuries. Ruben Tejada at shortstop, Justin Turner at second base, Nick Evans at first base. Well, that's a really good AAA lineup. Actually, Ted, that's got some pieces. That's got some big league pieces on it, as Mets fans now know.
Yeah, I think it's it certainly speaks to the way the new front office sort of came in and overhauled the organizational depth. But Toby, I gotta let you go. Before I do, what are you looking at in the higher levels for the second half of the season?
Couple big stories here. Is the right fielder of the future in the Mets organization non-Beltran division? Lucas Duda gets to audition at the big league level. Kirk Nieuwenhuis again has a shoulder problem in his non-throwing shoulder and might or might not need surgery depending on what the doctors tell him. Fernando Martinez on and off the field with injuries, hasn't hit a ton. Can any of those three guys really step up and make the case that they're ready for opening day next year, or not? That's a big issue at AAA and the big leagues. The other big issue for me, AA, Matt Harvey, last year's first-round pick, Euris Familia, both were more or less dominant at Advanced Day St. Lucie. What happens to them with half a season in AA? And really, can they put themselves in the Mets' plans for next year as well?
Toby, thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
Be sure to check out MetsMinorLeagueBlog.com for full coverage of the prospects in the Mets farm system. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.